The night my husband looked me dead in the eyes and said, "I don't think I respect you anymore," something inside me shattered in a way I didn't even know was possible. It wasn't screaming. It wasn't cheating. It wasn't even some explosive betrayal. It was that word, respect. And suddenly, I realized that love without respect feels like standing on a glass floor that's already cracked. You just don't know when it's going to give out. So tell me, if the person you loved most admitted they didn't respect you anymore, would you fight for the relationship, or would you walk away? Because I chose to fight. And what I discovered about love, respect, and what it really takes to make a relationship thrive completely changed me. But it also nearly cost me my marriage. When I first met Daniel, I was 24, ambitious, and convinced that love was supposed to feel like fireworks every single day. He was charming in that effortless way, confident but soft-spoken, the kind of man who made you feel seen in a crowded room. We met at a friend's birthday party, and I remember thinking he looked like someone who had his life together. Stable job, calm personality, clear goals, everything I thought I wanted. The first year was intoxicating. We talked for hours about our dreams. I wanted to start my own online business someday. He wanted to climb the corporate ladder and eventually manage his own team. We supported each other loudly and proudly. When I doubted myself, he reassured me. When he stressed about work, I reminded him how capable he was. It felt balanced, equal, respectful. We got married 2 years later. Nothing extravagant, just close family and friends. I genuinely believed I was stepping into a partnership where we would grow side by side. And for a while, that's exactly what it felt like. But life has a way of slowly testing the foundation of what you think is solid. About a year into our marriage, I decided to take a risk. I left my stable office job to pursue my online business full-time. It wasn't a reckless decision. I had savings. I had a plan. Daniel agreed. At least that's what I thought. He said, "If anyone can make this work, it's you." And I believed him. The first few months were tough. Income was inconsistent. I worked long hours from home, juggling marketing, client emails, product development. I was exhausted but determined. Meanwhile, Daniel started getting promoted at work. His responsibilities grew. His income grew. And slowly, almost invisibly, the dynamic between us shifted. It started with little comments. "Must be nice to work in pajamas all day. Did you actually make any money this week? I just don't get how Instagram counts as a job." He would laugh when he said these things. But there was something underneath the laughter. Something sharp. I told myself I was being sensitive. I told myself he was just stressed. But every joke chipped away at me. I began working even harder, not just to build my business, but to prove something. To him, to myself. Then came the dinner party. We were at his colleague's house. Everyone there worked in corporate roles, suits, structured schedules, stable paychecks. When someone asked what I did, I proudly explained my business. Before I could finish, Daniel cut in and said, "She's trying this online thing. It's more of a hobby right now." A hobby. I felt heat rush to my face. I laughed awkwardly, but inside I was crumbling. On the drive home, I confronted him. I asked why he minimized what I do, and that's when he said it. "I just don't think it's serious. I mean, I'm carrying the real financial weight here. I need to know my partner is solid, as if I was some unstable side project." That was the first time I sensed a lack of respect. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. From that point on, every disagreement felt loaded. If I questioned a decision, he'd say, "You don't understand how the real world works." If I suggested a financial plan, he'd remind me whose paycheck was paying most of the bills. I started shrinking. I second-guessed my opinions. I stopped bringing up ideas. And here's the dangerous part. I still loved him deeply. So I told myself love was enough. That if we just loved each other, the rest would sort itself out. But love without respect turns into quiet resentment. One night, after another argument about money, I broke down. I asked him directly, "Do you even respect me?" And that's when he said calmly, "I don't think I do. Not like I used to." It felt like the ground disappeared beneath me. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept replaying our relationship in my head. Where did we lose it? When did admiration turn into condescension? And the hardest question of all, had I stopped respecting myself somewhere along the way? Because if I'm honest, I had tolerated the jokes. I had laughed off the dismissive comments. I had allowed him to define the value of my work. I was waiting for him to validate me instead of standing firm in who I was. So that's the situation I was in. Married to a man I loved, but who openly admitted he didn't respect me anymore. I had two options: accept it and slowly disappear in my own marriage, or demand something better and risk losing everything. Before I tell you what I did, I want you to pause and really think, what would you have done in my shoes? Would you have walked away, given an ultimatum, or tried to rebuild what was broken? Comment below what your move would have been, because at that moment, I genuinely didn't know if I was about to save my marriage or destroy it. The next morning, I did something I'd never done before. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I didn't beg him to see my worth. I simply said, we need counseling. And if you're not willing to go, I need to reconsider this marriage. He looked shocked. I think he expected me to keep fighting in circles. But this was different. I was calm, steady. For the first time in a long time, I felt solid. To my surprise, he agreed. Therapy was uncomfortable, painfully honest. Our therapist asked Daniel what respect meant to him. He said it meant reliability, contribution, strength. When she asked me, I said it meant being valued, being heard, being treated as an equal. Then she asked a question that changed everything. When did you stop showing up as the version of yourself you respected? That question wasn't just for him. It was for me too. Daniel admitted that as he became more successful at work, he began measuring everything, including our relationship, through achievement and income. He equated money with value, and when my business struggled at first, he subconsciously downgraded me in his mind. Hearing him say it out loud was brutal, but it was honest, and I had to admit something equally painful. I had tied my self-worth to his approval. Instead of standing confidently in my path, I sought validation from him. The more he pulled away, the harder I tried to please him, and in doing that, I lost my own sense of authority. Rebuilding respect wasn't about grand romantic gestures. It was about boundaries. I stopped tolerating jokes that undermined me. The first time he made one, I calmly said, "That comment is disrespectful. Don't speak about my work like that." No anger, no tears, just clarity. I also started acting like the CEO of my own life. I set structured work hours. I tracked my income and expenses meticulously. I showed up with confidence, not defensiveness. And slowly my business began to grow. Not because I was trying to prove him wrong, but because I stopped operating from insecurity. Meanwhile, Daniel had his own work to do. He had to separate ego from partnership. He had to learn that being the higher earner didn't make him superior. In therapy, he confronted his fear. He was terrified of instability. Watching me take risks triggered that fear. Instead of expressing it vulnerably, he masked it with criticism. Months passed. There were setbacks. Old habits resurfaced. But something was different. We were communicating with intention instead of assumption. Then came a defining moment. About a year after that horrible, "I don't respect you" conversation, I landed a massive contract with a brand I had dreamed of working with. It was the biggest deal of my career. When I told Daniel, I braced myself for a lukewarm response. Instead, he stood up, hugged me tightly, and said, "I am so proud of you. I was wrong to doubt you." It wasn't about the money. It was about the acknowledgement. For the first time in a long time, I felt seen again. But here's the truth I learned. Respect doesn't magically appear when you succeed. It starts with how you allow yourself to be treated. If I had kept accepting less, no amount of business growth would have fixed that dynamic. Today, our marriage looks very different. We have weekly check-ins where we talk about finances, goals, and feelings openly. We celebrate each other's wins. We call out disrespect immediately, gently but firmly. Love is still there, but now it's built on something sturdier. The secret I unlocked is this. Love is emotional, but respect is behavioral. You can't just feel it. You have to demonstrate it daily, through listening, through support, through boundaries, through accountability. And sometimes the ultimate guide to a thriving romance isn't about candlelit dinners or surprise gifts. It's about having the courage to say,
"This is not enough," and the strength to become someone you respect first.
If I had walked away that night, I wouldn't blame myself. But I'm glad I didn't make a decision from pure hurt. I chose growth instead of escape. And thankfully, he chose it too. So if you're in a relationship where love feels shaky because respect is missing, ask yourself the hard questions. Are you honoring yourself? Are you communicating clearly? Are you tolerating things that slowly erode your confidence? Because the moment you reclaim your self-respect, everything shifts, whether the relationship survives or not. Looking back, that painful confession from my husband wasn't the end of my marriage. It was the wake-up call we both needed. It forced us to confront uncomfortable truths and rebuild on stronger ground. If you were on my side, and believe respect is non-negotiable in love, like this video. If you want more real, raw stories about relationships and personal growth, subscribe to the channel. And I really want to hear from you. Share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. Was I right to fight for us? Or should I have walked away the moment he said he didn't respect me? I'll be reading your responses, and I'll see you all in the next story.